How's it going, guys? So I'm here with my SmackDown review. And before we begin, I don't really have a lot of wrestling talk to get through this week. Nothing really that exciting happened. I failed to mention last week about the passing of New Jack. I wasn't like a big fan, rest in peace, but I wasn't crazy about the guy. I never really liked that guy. I know a lot of people seem like they were really big fans, but it's probably more like now that he's passed away, people are like, oh yeah, New Jack, yeah. That's kind of how it always is. When someone dies, all of a sudden you find a newfound fandom in them. The one thing that I do want to talk about is, by the way, I did a video. I didn't review Backlash because I didn't watch the show, but I had to see the Lumberjack match with the zombies, the Army of the Dead zombies, and the Miz getting gobbled up. So I did a video on that, and it performed pretty well. I mean, seems like just as many people watched that as my SmackDown reviews. So it was really nice that I actually just got to talk about one thing as opposed to a whole show. So that was pleasant. Now, the network is something that I'm probably going to have to do a separate video on because it's a total mess. I understand that they're transitioning over, but when you have a deal that big and there's so much money involved in it, how are they not handling that well? I mean, how is all that money going into it? It's being handled by NBC Universal, not a small company, not a hole-in-the-wall alleyway company. We're talking about this is a big multi-billion-dollar company. And to say that they botched the way that this network was carried over, because as far as I'm concerned, I don't think the network was perfect, but it was pretty good. I mean, you could find things easily, especially the pay-per-views and the Raws. It's a little hard to kind of organize all that content. I mean, you have nearly 30 years at this point of content that you have to put up there. So it makes a lot of sense, to try to get it as organized as possible. I know it's hard, it's a lot of stuff, but I mean, you would think that maybe the people at Peacock, the people putting all the content over there, transferring it over, maybe if they weren't so busy editing everything. I don't know how much more editing they did from the last thing I heard was The Nation. There's probably things that people are not even talking about or reporting because there's so many different shows. I mean, when you really think about how many shows the WWE put on just in the Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression Era alone, because we talk about the Attitude Era being edited. One of the things with Vince McMahon and John Cena, the whole N-word segment from Survivor Series, that was edited out, and that's not even Attitude Era. That's Ruthless Aggression. So now we're getting into that. But last thing I heard was that and The Nation being parodied by DX. So I decided to keep Peacock, but we're gonna have to do a video, and I'm gonna have to show you on screen what I'm talking about because you might not have Peacock, you might have not looked at Peacock, but if you gotta see this thing. I mean, holy cannoli, did they botch this transfer? I mean, how can they get it that bad? But anyway, we'll save the comments and all the debauchery for that video that's upcoming. So instead, let's just get right into SmackDown. We'll talk about this show, and boy, oh boy, this was a show where I don't know what the fuck this was supposed to be. Was this supposed to be eventful? What the hell was even going on here on this show? We start off with Sonya Deville. Good news. Wrestling is coming back. Live wrestling, live WWE events starting in July. They're going to do a whole tour and everything. And they have all the champions out on the stage. A champions parade. Of course, Heyman has to come out and he does the annoying... This is the thing where we have to come back to this again. He did this when he was doing that promo on Cesaro, repeating himself over and over. I mean, he kept saying that these are not champions, these are title holders, and you get it. But like when Heyman gets something and he thinks it's good, he keeps repeating it over and over. And this is something we've seen from this guy ever since Brock beat The Undertaker. And I've talked about this on a number of occasions. Heyman obviously knows how to talk. I've never said that before. I said this guy, when he was commentator, if you've never heard him commentate on Raw, if you've never heard him commentate in on the pay-per-views, I mean, this guy called WrestleMania 17 my favorite WrestleMania, my favorite pay-per-view of all time. His voice is etched in it. So to say that, like, I don't like Heyman as a talker would be foolish. I just don't like Heyman right now as a talker. I think that the guy is just a fucking cartoon character. He's all over the place, repeating himself 1,000 times, and that's what he does. He gets a term, keeps on repeating it, and that was on full display here. Then we have Bayley just sliding out of nowhere, coming in through an empty arena. Comes in through the back entrance of the Thunderdome. Where the hell she popped up from? I did not see the finish of Backlash, but you got to be kidding me. I'll probably go back and watch it later. Did she really somehow pin Bayley with her hair, Bianca Belair? Because Bianca's there. So Bayley gets in the ring and, her hair looked a little bit better, but now she's just like combing it all to one side. I don't know. I've said this in my comments when we were talking about this, when I did the first SmackDown review with her hair in that style, and people were saying this, and they were agreeing with me, and a lot of people were even saying this. I think even some of the smarks were even saying that, her hair just looked really, really bad, and her appearance just looked really just unkempt. I mean, for, a female star of this caliber to come out there looking like that. But they looked like they kind of fixed her up a bit. But what happened back in the day? Like I said, you never see Stacy Keibler looking like this, or Tori Wilson. Remember they used to have that heavy set stylist backstage, and she would even work on the guys and everything. Like, you'd never see anyone looking out of place. As much as I've praised even Sami Zayn, you'd never see anybody looking like that. And when they were presented like Gilbert, it was a joke. It wasn't serious, but here we're supposed to believe that Bayley is one of the best characters. Now, they didn't book her for Mania. She was busy running around backstage in annoying segments, believing that she was over, believing that she was funny and entertaining, but she was anything but. So they get face to face, and this leads into a 6-man tag, because of course it does. We can't get out of a SmackDown or a Raw or any WWE show that matter nowadays without having a multi-man match. And I don't know why they would do this. I know that they don't even consider AEW to be on the map at all. McMahon doesn't even care, and nor should he. But why don't they distance themselves from doing this multi-man, multi-woman stuff? There's nothing to get out of this. They're always a mess, just like this. Boring. Like, you'd say to yourself, like, how could something with so many people and so much going on be this boring? It's boring, especially because they've done it so many times, and it's so sloppy. No one likes to admit this. Everyone seems to think, with the Belair, Sasha Banks, this had Rock Austin energy. You could tell that really bothered me, and it did. It really did. Like, the fact that people believe that goof Sam Roberts, and people agreeing with him on Twitter. Oh, yes, Sam, it was just like that. Yeah, you guys felt it, right? Yeah, WrestleMania, the last one at 37. Yeah, it felt just like WrestleMania 17, the greatest WrestleMania of all time. The greatest match of all time, in my opinion, between Austin and Rock. Yeah, that match right there, that was just like that one. You've got to be kidding me. Anyway, we just prove why they're not on their level. Like, honestly, guys, it's time to draw the line. I'm going to rewind a little bit and take you back to the Royal Rumble when I actually said that, Belair deserved it. I don't like her anymore. I'm here to say it. I don't like Bianca Belair. How did the whole thing, the way she's being presented, look, she's very impressive, very athletic, very strong, but like, she's, I'm saying that, like, she's powerful. The way she lifted up Otis, the things she did at WrestleMania, putting Sasha in the gorilla press, and walking up the stairs with her was good. But I'm not going to base a few feats on her being good. Those weren't particularly, like, amazing, memorable moments. They were memorable for a few days, but down the road, am I going to remember anything Bianca Belair did? Am I going to remember that WrestleMania moment more than anything on any other WrestleMania? No. So, like, I'm not... This is what I always hate. And I'm even guilty of it. We kind of lowered our standards, and I don't do that, but we kind of accept what's just decent or okay and really play it up. And I'm really sick and tired of doing that, because I look back, and here I am like a total goof saying, I'm happy she won at the Rumble. Now, I didn't say that this was an amazing show or anything, but like, yeah, I still say, looking back, retrospect, I didn't rewatch it. I probably never will. But it was a decent Rumble, and her winning, like leading up to it was good, the way it was presented. But just her, and the way that they're pretending like she's the center of attention. But we all know that she's just gonna be like the flavor of the year, and you will see, like, after she loses this belt, she'll end up like Natalya. She might even end up like Ronda Rousey, not even in the company. I think she'll probably stick around a lot more than Rhea Ripley. Let me tell you something. Rhea Ripley, I have no idea how she's even in this thing and how people are praising her. You got fools, like I've said this like a few videos back, Jim Cornette, that goofball, actually praising Rhea Ripley. A guy like that, old school, I know he's out of his mind and a moron, to the max degree, but to even like put it out there that like that's quality talent, and actually went so far as to say that she was beautiful. I think he might have used the word hot to describe her. I would not even go anywhere near those adjectives. But anyway, yeah. Don't like her. So anyway, Sonya Deville locks on the rear naked choke, whatever the hell she calls it, wins the match on, who did she do it to? I think it was on Tamina, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, this, here we got the tag champs just throwing everybody in here, and I mean, just totally worthless. You can't imagine that anybody tuning in on a Friday night watching this happening live is going to say, oh, wow, this is worth watching. Obviously not. And they put them in the opening match. When's the last time that happened? Usually they're a little bit smarter and they know not to put them in the opening match. But here they are, once again, putting them in the opener. And the other thing that I gotta say before we move on, like, Sonya Deville, how bland, how boring, why? Why is she in this role? I get it, they feel sorry for her, it's terrible what happened with that fan. But if the girl is not a good talker, and she's not comfortable in front of a live mic, and forget about being comfortable and all that, how about being good? How about being presentable to a vast audience that's available to you, being on a major network like Fox? But for some reason, just because, you're able to stand there and do it, apparently that's good enough, and it's been like that for quite some time. And where is Scrap Iron Where's junk pile Adam Pearce at? Where is the guy? The goofball's not even anywhere to be found. I mean, first of all, they don't even have titles. I've said this, like, we don't even know what Sonya Deville is supposed to be. He's Adam Pearce's assistant. Adam Pearce is not even there. The assistant's running the show. He doesn't even have a title. He's still being called the WWE official. I mean, what are they even doing? Like, and have you ever seen this? Remember when Bischoff and GMs and everybody was running the show? Can you imagine if you didn't have like an authority figure on each show? And Pierce is just nowhere to be found. No explanation. Is he on vacation? Maybe on a mental vacation. You know, his empty stare all the time. And, you know, on second thought, leave him off the show. And then we've got Aleister Black doing one of his promos. You know, these are well done, well produced, and put together. But, you know, this is the weird thing once again. It's like I'm praising something and saying, like, it looks good. But then you dig a little deeper beneath the surface, and it's boring because he's been saying the same thing 3 weeks in a row. And there's nothing exciting about this. Like, and I'm watching a promo, a vignette about a guy that we've already seen. Like, when's the last time you've seen this? That first of all, the guy was not even injured. They just kept him off TV, from my understanding. And now we're being reintroduced to him. And apparently we're going to get to it at the end of the show. Not much has changed, aside from having some, contact lenses put in his eyes from what I mean, that's the only difference. We're not going to see any difference. All this stuff that he's been saying, watch it not even be carried over onto the show. That's just going to be exclusive to these vignettes. Then we have Corbin coming into the ring, cutting a promo about getting his crown back. This is so exciting. Once again, like, I mean, what's stimulating television? Will he get his crown back? I'm on the edge of my seat, guys. I can't wait to see what's going to happen next. I mean, honestly, like, this is the best they could do. And we have to come back to this again. We look at the pasts of these wrestlers. And I missed out on saying it. I don't think I even mentioned it when I was doing the review of the Lumberjack match at Backlash. The Miz is involved in that goofballery. And he was the WWE champion just like a few weeks before WrestleMania. And, I think people even forgot about that because they're happy that Lashley won the title. But they're like completely numb to the fact that this guy, he was like at the top of the mountain. And then he was wrestling Bad Bunny, where, people are praying, oh, Bad Bunny at least had a good match. Yeah, but the guy he's wrestling, Bad Bunny's wrestling, he was the champion. He won the same belt that Bruno Sammartino wore, the same belt that Stone Cold wore. Yeah, we've done this 1,000 times. He was the champion, okay? And now he's getting eaten by zombies on TV. And we're seeing him posting up pictures on Instagram, so we know he's just fine. We were even told at Backlash that these were just they were just characters in a movie, and we were still supposed to believe that they were real zombies. Suspension of disbelief. Okay, there's no way you could suspend your disbelief and stretch it that far. That's just total retardation. I'm not even getting into that. So, but yeah, watch my video, my review of that match if you want my full thoughts. Just wanted to recap that there. But, we talk about the Miz being champion. How about the fact that we've got Corbin here, and, like, this guy was feuding with Roman Reigns. We've had him feud with Cena. We had him be Money in the Bank. And we come full circle, and he's feuding over his crown with Nakamura, who's another guy that he won the Royal Rumble. And it wasn't even that long ago. It was only 3 years ago. And we were already forgetting about Nakamura, that this guy won the Rumble. I mean, I think Pat McAfee mentioned it like last week or something. And it's just totally unbelievable to me that like this guy is being presented like this now. Like, think back like years ago. Go back like a decade. The person that won the Royal Rumble, that person was not a forgotten memory within a year or two like this guy. Now we've got Rick Boogs, which they're making fun of his name on the show. Which, like, okay, so if his name is already gonna be stupid, then why the hell did they give it the okay? Like, you're naming your character Rick Boogs, and I'm supposed to sit here and be like, okay, was that supposed to be the joke? Am I like, did McMahon say, well, let's name him Boogs, or somebody said like, well, McMahon wants this guy to be named something funny. This is the same guy that was from the Old Spice commercials with Tozawa and everything and R-Truth, and he won the 24/7 championship. I think it was at the Rumble, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was. I mean, I don't know. This is an NXT guy. Obviously not a very successful NXT guy. The guy's in great shape. They had him playing Nakamurphy's theme coming out to the ring. That guitar had the absolute worst tone on it. For anybody that plays guitar, I'm not an expert at guitar, but I play guitar and I know a bad tone when I hear it. And for that to be on a show like this, on SmackDown on Fox, and that's the way how it sounded, like, he was playing it accurately, but, like, the guitar, oh my God, like, I don't know, it sounded just absolutely horrible. And I don't know if it was because they were using, like, the Bluetooth, because, yeah, I even have it for my guitar and amp. There's a Bluetooth device where you could actually connect it where you don't have to have a cable. And I don't know what they were doing, but, like, it just didn't sound good, but whatever. I mean, it was cool that they did that, but it's also super random. Like, this is how you introduce this guy? And we have Pat McAfee acting like a gigantic asshole at ringside, which was funny. He's like, oh man, he's shredding. And he just went completely like ape shit over like absolutely not. It's a guy playing a guitar. And, I thought to myself, I'm like, this is interesting. You're getting the guy over by playing the guitar. And I'm like, well, that's really interesting. I mean, there's only one problem with that. Elias. I'm saying to myself, okay, you idiots, you absolute morons. You already have Elias, who plays the guitar. That's his gimmick. And now you're going to give this guy the same gimmick? And you go, well, then they had Elias actually coming out there with a Fender electric. He was coming out there with a Stratocaster. And this guy is coming out there. So, I mean, I know we have Elias sometimes using the acoustic, but you already have a guitar player. So why are we having another one out there? That's his, like, you already have one guy, and Elias was over at one point. Now you're going to bring out another guy with the same gimmick. First of all, Elias looks 10 times the star that Boogs does. Okay, so you've got that alone. He obviously, he's got a better name. You've already named him better. Boogs is in good shape. Elias is even in better shape. I mean, like, do we have to run down the list? Like, why do we have nearly the same character on two opposing shows? I don't get it. I mean, is that we have to have the SmackDown guitar player and the Raw one? I guess. But like you can't even book the guy that's the original guitar player. So you're gonna bring out a character with the same gimmick when you could barely even maintain with Elias? I mean, I don't know. Anyway, so Boogs gets up on the table, plays more guitar, he gets distracted, Nakamurphy rolls him up. Corbin doesn't get his crown back, and like I don't get it. They brought this guy in, what, so he could play the guitar. Like, okay, you brought out Boogs. Like, what are we getting out of this? Like, were we supposed to be? I am falling in love with this guy because he played Dr. Murphy's theme. I mean, there's people on YouTube that cover his theme on guitar. Like, should we bring them out? Okay, maybe they're not wrestlers. Maybe they're not as in shape as this guy. But, I mean, what's the point? Are they going to do anything with him? And that's the other thing. Boogs, who's the guitar player, he's in better shape than the guy that he's representing. So, I mean, in turn, he looks better than Dr. Murphy. I mean, you know, this guy, like, I don't know, does he look like he belongs? I don't know. The one thing, he's got kind of Joey Ryan vibes going on, you know, kind of like with the hair and the face, and I don't know. This is so random. I don't know, maybe they were desperate for a new star, so like, let's repurpose the Old Spice guy. Anyway, we've got Roman Reigns coming out for a promo. He's interrupted by Cesaro. And we've got Seth Rollins coming out and attacking Cesaro in the middle of the promo. And Seth Rollins, with the absolute worst stomps I've ever seen. I don't know how people say that this is like one of the best workers ever. Like, there's people that are giant Rollins fans. The guy is just absolutely terrible in every single way. Not only is the guy dangerous, but the offense he's doing, the work he's doing, looks like shit to me compared to so many others. I mean, you go back and just watch him stomping Cesaro as he's holding onto the barricade. The stomps are barely connecting. There looks like there's no force behind them. Just, I mean, man, if you're going to do fake stomps, I mean, I've seen guys just do, you know, fake stomps that look 10 times better than that. So he beats him down. Then backstage, you know, when we think it's over, he then takes Cesaro out on the stretcher because his arm is in a sling. So he starts yelling at Cesaro when he's on the stretcher, and he's again with the, oh my god, like, they really, since they've been having him have this, whatever this gimmick is supposed to be, like, this is the weirdest gimmick I've ever seen. Every week that they show Rollins, he's screaming at the top of his lungs in that shrill voice, you know, and he's wearing the most hideous attires. And people will argue, oh, wow, you know, that attire is so heelish. You know, it's getting him over. It's making him look like a fucking idiot. Like, honestly, like, I don't know where he's getting these jackets from, but ever since he came out wearing that fur leather jacket, he's just been on a roll of wearing obscure jackets that absolutely, this does nothing for him. Because instead of having a character, we have a jacket. And we have a screaming idiot on our TVs. Like, just, this guy is just going full force. Just yelling like a total maniac. And I guess, you know, and he's all, like, wide eyes and everything. Like, and we're not buying Seth Rollins as the maniac. He's the Messiah. He's the maniac. He says, you know, everybody at one point, what was it, a few years ago, I don't need a character or gimmick. My gimmick is that I'm a great wrestler. Yeah. Yeah, you need a gimmick, buddy, and you need a character. And first of all, I don't know, like, how they've maintained this guy, and, like, I think they view him as a valuable player. I noticed they've been keeping him far away from the world championships, and, you know, that's good. But, like, this guy, like, first of all, it's annoying to me watching, like, a guy that's completely directionless. So not only does he feel like he has no value on the show or direction, but he just really has no value. Like, honestly, like, why is he there? He's not contributing anything to ratings. No one tunes in to see Seth Rollins. So honestly, like, why is he there? You know, and this is supposed to be a top tier guy. You have people back in the day that used to tune in to see mid-carders. I mean, think about this for a moment. You had a guy like Val Venus, who was a mid-carder. People wanted to see him. Rikishi, most of his career, he was a mid-carder. You know, at least through the big part of 2000. And people would talk about Rikishi. They tune in to see him. You know what I'm saying? But no one's tuning in to see Seth Rollins. And they learned it. You know that they made a mistake with this guy because they have not let this guy anywhere near a world title in so long. You know, it's been now like a good 2 years. That hellacious 2019 of him with the world title was probably the worst thing ever, and I think they knew that was just a big mistake. Now I see on Raw they're doing the same thing with Kofi Kingston. They had him beat Randy Orton and Lashley in the same night. And I'm seeing online they're asking fans, they actually have to go and ask fans, do you think Kofi deserves a world title shot? And I see a lot of idiots saying, yeah, of course he does. And I see a lot of people saying, no, he doesn't. Enough with this guy. You know, I mean, honestly, don't they look at 2019? Don't they look the last time that they had a full year with a crowd, that was not good, that was not over, that was not doing anything for them, that didn't boost numbers, it only hurt numbers. And for some reason, they're going to do it again. And, you know, I think that one day they probably going to give Rollins a title again because they're going to keep repeating these mistakes over and over. Because they're insane, and that's what they do. I don't know. It's just... So anyway, yeah. Screaming Rollins. I mean, that is the gimmick. He's just a crazy screaming guy, I guess. We had Jimmy Uso talking to Miss Personality backstage, getting a tag match against the Street Profits with his brother Jay. Jay says he has to check with Roman, so this was spread out through a few segments. You know, again, I like when they do this. You know, they're showing a bit more of the family. Now it's one more family. I don't get it. Head of the table, and we only have 3 from the tribe when there's so many. We saw the Yokozuna special. They've got Samoans as far as the eye can see. They can take any one of those people at any time. Pay them a few bucks and get them on TV. Get them backstage for 2 seconds at the very least. I don't get why it's so boring that we're being told that this is, supposed to be a whole network and we don't see anybody. Instead we see just, Paul Heyman just chungalunging his way to the ring every week when he could be replaced by, I don't know, Rikishi maybe? How cool would it be to have him as a confidant there? But of course, we won't see anything like that. That would be too interesting, I suppose. Anyway, Reigns has a really weird reaction, he's not worried about it. And I didn't really even understand this, because you want to know why? Because I couldn't hear him? Once again, like I said, for a few weeks, it's been okay, but the audio, again, I've said this time and time again, if you're going to have Reigns talk this slow, and I get it, it's part of his character, he wants to speak a little bit more methodically, a little bit more low, he's trying to go for range, okay, great, fine, but mic the backstage area, I don't get this, I do not get this. You're in a small little place like this, the Thunderdome, a small little arena. You should have more, and you're there, the same place, every week. The same place that Raw takes place, SmackDown takes place. And somehow, some way, they just can't just up the mic a little bit. Just a tiny bit so we can hear the guy. Your biggest star on the show, and we have to go, we have to do the Hulk Hogan, every single show. And I'm getting sick of it, because it's you got $1 billion company. We just talked about the purchase of the network, and we can't even get the audio right. can't get the network right, can't get the network transition right. I mean, that's more of NBC Universal's fault. That's more Peacock's fault. But I'm just saying, man, just so many simple, dimple things are just being totally botched and ruined that are, like, related to WWE. Anyway, moving on, we've got Dominic beating Robert Roode. So, yeah, Ray and Dominic won the championships. They won the tag titles. But, man, oh, man, just Dominic beating Roode clean on SmackDown. Roode, this guy with just this immaculate physique. Star written all over him. You know, Roode has been in this company now for, like, what has it been, like, on the main roster. Been there for 3 years. And what did they think to get him over? Oh, we'll get him over on the theme song. And some people bought that for a while, but they couldn't keep it consistent. And now he's just been in obscurity in this worthless tag team for, like, I don't know, what has it been, like a year and a half? He's been hanging out with Roode, and it's like the most boring tag team I've ever seen. And it's like two guys I like, but it's two guys that are totally directionless. You know, now they don't have the tag title, so what are they doing? Now they're going to have the little rematches, and I'm sure we're going to have Rey Mysterio versus Ziggler next week, because you got to have that match, because you had the other half of the team face off. I mean, they have to do everything in their power to make everything just be as bland as possible. And I'm sorry, but I am not buying Dominic. Like, at least when Rey Mysterio, you know, would beat bigger guys, Rey's jacked. So, like, you could kind of start to believe that. Like, a lot of people don't even talk about that. But Rey, you know, has a better physique than guys bigger than him. So you could start to believe, okay, well, he might be a lot shorter than them, but this guy has some power behind him. You know, but Dominic is just, you know, to me, what I see, like an average height guy, looks like he's like 5'9", 5'10". But the guy is a damn toothpick. And a bad-looking toothpick. I mean, honestly, I gotta be serious with you. Looking at him, like, I think Sami Zayn has bigger arms than Dominic over there. That's pathetic. That really is sad. I mean, especially, like I said, when your dad is the more jacked. Yeah, I mean, like, Ray is in his 40s. Dominic is in his, like, what is it, really early 20s? And this guy looks like this. Like, doesn't Ray, as I said, like, a few reviews back, doesn't Ray turn to Dominic and be like, man, if you're going to be on the show, like, come to the gym with me or something. Like, and don't they have equipment right there? They have access to the Performance Center, the Thunderdome. You know, like, how is this even the thing? Like, what are they, so afraid of offending people? I don't get it. They're not scared of, like, releasing people, but no one, like, walks up to these wrestlers and says, like, you know, come on. Well, you know, let's lift some weights there, Dominic. Come on. You can't come out there, you know, in your little Seth Rollins wannabe costume and look like total complete horse shit. I mean, you know, we can't be nice anymore, because really we're talking about a big company here that's, you know, we're told that these are supposed to be the best that the world has to offer. Come on, you know what I'm saying? This should be the template. I know, like I said in the beginning, I know that AEW barely exists, and we should pretend like it doesn't exist. But WWE should try to distance themselves as much as possible from AEW. Like, look at that roster and just try to make the guys look as much different as possible. I don't get it. It's just like, I just look back, man. I know a lot of people get sick of this, but, like, we got to just look back at the Attitude Era. Look back at the Ruthless Aggression Era. Just look at what those guys looked like. You would not see someone like Dominic, like, looking like this on the show. And, you know, and the guy looks talented and everything like that. And he seems like he's doing well in the ring. But I'm telling you, man, this guy's a total David Flair. And I know I'm repeating myself like Paul Heyman, but that's how I really feel about it. Um, the Street Profits. Oh man, weren't they like off TV for a while now? I feel like we haven't seen these guys in forever. And I kind of wish that we had a reprieve from them just one more week. Because here they are just, like, all over the place. I mean, Montez Ford, he's got to be the most annoying. Like, first of all, like, I don't get how these guys are baby faces. Especially Montez Ford. Because he's so damn annoying, I don't understand who would cheer for this guy. And maybe it's just me. But I mean, it's so childish and stupid. The way he's acting, just so juvenile. I mean, just, good God. Like, these guys are supposed to be perceived as being cool, I think. But, I mean, all we're getting is plastic cups and just, whoa. Like, seriously, it reminds me of Steve Carell in Anchorman. Loud noises, just like totally, that's all we're getting here. Just there's nothing of any substance being said. It's just them acting like a bunch of dumbasses. And more than Dawkins, Montez Ford is the bigger dumbass out of the two. I mean, he acts like a damn fool every single week. And then we get our fatal 4-way match at the end. Okay action, nothing amazing, but we've got Apollo Crews defeating Big E, Sami Zayn, and Kevin Owens. And man, like, just looking at this, like, Kevin Owens, but like, what are they even doing with this guy? Like, honestly, I've talked about it time and time again. This guy, he's not going to be a big star. Not looking the way that he does. We started off the year trying to, shove it down our throats that this guy's a world title contender. We're going to put him in the ring with Reigns. And we're going to have you believe that this guy stands a chance. And I said it was probably the most moronic looking thing I've ever seen in my life. It was totally embarrassing. It looked embarrassing years ago, and it still is embarrassing in 2021. Okay, so now he is here, and he's being demoted to the IC championship picture. Just as predicted, because this is what always happens. We'll give you a world title shot. Same thing with Cesaro. You give you a world title shot, and it's right back to the mid-card. You're going to be fighting Rollins. Okay, so who interferes for Apollo Crews' match? We get, and this was the strangest thing, we get Aleister Black, and like, I don't know why they zoomed in so closely on the smoke. Like zoom out a little. Like, what the hell are they doing here? I get it. They want to try some new things. And during the pandemic era, I really think that the best thing that they came away with was that 4K camera. Especially during the Royal Rumble entrances. They use it during certain segments, and it looks so crisp and great. Sometimes I kind of wish that the whole show would have that cinematic look, but I don't know. Maybe it'd be too much. It's very high def, but I like it. But like, they've been doing weird stuff like this, like zooming in so close on the smoke. Like, all I'm looking at is a bunch of smoke, and I can't see anything else. And out pops Aleister Black, and he's wearing white contact lenses that are making his eyes look all crazy. And like, how many times have we seen this with wrestlers? We can't get him over that way, so we're gonna just give him some contact lenses. Remember they did that with Roman Reigns? They gave him contacts, like, like, that does nothing. You changed one thing on the guy. And I'm seeing people on he looks like such a badass. I'm going to just say something right now, guys. I've really been looking at Aleister Black as of late, and I'm just saying to myself, I'm not seeing it. I really, it's the same thing. Like, what's his name? Like, what was his name again? Lee. The big dude that we haven't seen in months. I'm already Keith Lee. I was already forgetting his name. That's how long he's been gone. I'm looking at this guy, and I don't know what it is. Why why is this guy a big star? What is so special about Aleister Black? Because he's got a lot of tattoos. Like, we didn't have somebody like that named CM Punk that did kicks. I mean, I think that's what it is. People look at Aleister Black and they kind of see a CM Punk type of guy, and that's what they like. First of all, like the goth gimmick and everything, okay, great, but I'm not really feeling it like being very genuine from him. I kind of feel like it's just a guy with a gimmick. Like, I don't know, he sits Indian style in the ring. Ooh, they have him come up on a slab. Like, I'm not getting the same vibe that I get from like Gangrel or even like Kevin Thorne in the old ECW. Fire up an old ECW episode and watch Kevin Thorne. Like, you bought that guy with that goth gimmick. Here, you're just like, here's a guy playing a role that's a goth gimmick. And I don't know if people like want to believe, oh, well, he's got all those tattoos, so he's got to be this type of way. Like, okay, I don't, I know that he's like his family are Freemasons, and they kind of want you to like buy into this whole thing. But like, I'm just very disinterested. Maybe it's just me. Just randomly coming out and attacking Big E, helping out Apollo Crews. Like, why is he helping out Apollo Crews when Crews is like this Nigerian warlord kind of guy? And and you've got this guy Aleister Black who's been talking about let's I'm not gonna let you in my secret. Let me take you inside my world. And he's supposed to be this kind of elitist secret cult kind of guy. How does it make sense that he would align himself with Apollo Crews, who's this tribal guy with the spear? Like, huh? Like what kind of story could possibly be told there? And you already know the explanation is coming next week. Oh, can't wait for that one. I'm sure it's going to make a load of sense. Anyway, guys, that's all I got to say about that. Oh my God. Like, that really was a horrendous episode of SmackDown. Like, there really wasn't anything interesting, remotely interesting on this at all. It was just absolutely terrible. Boring. Oh, God. Anyway, guys, thank you all for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I want to thank all my patrons for your continued support, and click the bells to get all notifications when I post all my new videos. Thanks again, guys. I'll see you next time.